over there, you've got a bunch of cranes, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's this one that's like this? What's going on with that one?
That one there is a jib on the crane.
Why do you need to angle it down like that? Why can't you just keep going?
Sometimes you have things in the way, like a building. So you can't go through the building, you've got to go up next to it and over it.
All right, Patrick, so what are we doing today?
Today, Ben, we're going to go to one of our valued customers, go look at their laydown yard, see some parts of cranes, and then we'll finish the day over to another one of our partners, taking a look at some more cranes.
We're going to be seeing a bunch of different mobile cranes today, right? What is a mobile crane?
It's in the name, it's mobile. But there's different types of mobile cranes. You have taxi cranes that look like a truck driving down the road. You have an all-terrain crane, and then you have crawler cranes. Those don't drive down the road, but they've got tracks that propel them on the job site, so they're able to move around, pick and carry.
Yeah, so I guess that's what a lot of people don't really realize is that there's a lot of different kinds of cranes out there, and that's what we're going to go look at today.
Like having tools in your garage. You got to have the right tool for the right job.
All right, Patrick, where are we at?
Ben, today we're in beautiful Clearwater, Florida, at one of our great customers. And today we're going to show you a little bit about cranes.
We've got a crane behind us here. What kind of crane is this?
This beautiful one right here is a Manitowoc 3900 crawler crane.
So what makes it a crawler crane?
The fact that it has tracks, it's going to be able to self-propel it on the job site. And two, it's got a lattice boom.
So the tracks is the easy way to tell if it's a crawler crane compared to what are some of the other types of cranes that we're going to see today?
We're going to see some rough terrain cranes. We're going to see some all-terrain cranes and maybe a boom truck if we're lucky.
What is a crawler crane used for? Where would you find crawler cranes?
Heavy infrastructure jobs like foundation jobs. And you're also going to see them on bridge jobs.
And what makes the crawler crane ideal for those types of jobs specifically compared to the other cranes that we're going to see today?
What it allows it to do on a job site is it can actually pick and carry loads. And it's able to move by the track. So it's able to position itself. Each track operates independently, so one can go forwards, one can go backwards, so it can cut very quickly. Whereas an all-terrain crane or a rough terrain crane, it's going to get set up and it's working in that one position.
What are the wire rope needs of a crawler crane?
You're going to have your main hoist and your aux, and they're predominantly going to be a rotation-resistant rope. And it's also going to have a boom hoist rope, which is going to give it the ability to boom up and down. And that's going to be a compacted or swedged rope.
So your main hoist, your aux hoist, that's the thing. The thing that everyone knows what cranes do. They pick things up, put it down. The lattice boom, yep, that's lifting it up, right?
Exactly, it lifts it up and lowers it.
And those have significantly different wire rope requirements, right?
They do, exactly, because the nature of the work they're doing are totally different from one another. The hoist rope needs the stability to keep the load in position when it's hoisting up and down, whereas the boom hoist rope, it needs the strength and also crushing ability to lower and raise the boom.
I assume, just looking at this crane, you can't drive this down the road, right?
Not legally, Ben. The tracks there, they're made of steel, and that's going to tear the asphalt or concrete up that it's moving on.
So how do you get this crane to a job site?
It's going to come all in truckloads. There's going to be an erector out there who's going to build the crane on the job site.
I guess let's go check out the next one.
Absolutely, let's go. Well, Ben, now we're in front of a Tadano GR1000 rough terrain crane.
What is a rough terrain crane?
And a rough terrain crane gives its ability to drive off-road on a rough terrains, hence the name. So this would be not driving down the road, but around on job sites. Once it gets to where it needs to pick at, it's gonna put its outrigger beams out. They're gonna put the outrigger pads underneath it for ground stability, bring it up, and then it can go to work.
How can you identify a rough terrain crane?
Well, the obvious giveaway is you can see the operator's cab. There's no lower cab for driving it down the road. So that's a quick, easy indication. Also, secondly, you never see tires that big unless it's on a monster truck. So it wouldn't be driving down the road at that point.
What is a rough terrain crane used for? What specific jobs is this the ideal candidate for?
This is for anything where you need a crane to move around on a job site, but not move with loads. So if you needed to pick over here, and then it's got to come over to here, it's easier for it to move itself around on the job site than a larger all-terrain crane.
The obvious difference between this one and the crawler that we just looked at, crawler's got tracks, this is big wheels. Why would you use an all-terrain crane rather than a crawler crane?
Well, it's the versatility of it. It's not going to have a high of capacity as the crawler crane does. It's not going to be able to pick and carry as much as it does, but it's easier to move around on the job site. It's going to be quicker to move that than a 2-mile-an-hour crawler crane clopping around all over the place. So this is one of the workhorses of the crane industry because it can move around so easily on the job site.
And when it comes to wire rope, what are the wire rope requirements on this crane?
You're going to see both on the main and auxiliary is going to be a rotation resistant rope. That way, when they boom it all the way out and they bring the block down, the block's not turning. And that's the purpose of rotation resistant rope. It's a much more stable rope. So that way, when you pick, the block's going to stay in line. You don't get any twist. There's no load augmentations at that point.
And then since this has a telescopic boom, you don't need the boom hoist, I assume, right?
Correct. That's the purpose of the hydraulic cylinder in front there. It's what powers the boom up and down at that point. You also have a jib on the side if you needed to get more reach for the crane as well, because you have a fixed boom in it. So it's only going to be able to boom out so far.
So if you need that extra height, then you can attach that jib attachment that's
on the side of the crane.
On the side there.
Exactly. They could swing it around, pin it up, then go back. Then they'll have to run the wire rope over the point jib on it, then they can go to work.
This crane can't drive down the road, right?
Correct.
So how does this crane get to the job site?
It's going to be brought in on a tractor trailer. It's going to be used on a lowboy, which is a very specific type of trailer used to transport this type of crane. Some of the higher capacity ones, you may have to take the counterweights off the back, or you may even take the tires off because of the height of the crane. It won't be able to drive down the road that way because it'd be over height.
On this specific crane yard, we saw crawler crane and rough terrain crane. Now we're going to move, go somewhere else. Where are we going? What are we going to see?
Next, we're going to go take a look at some all-terrain cranes and hopefully a boom truck or two.
All right, so let's head back in the car, head to the next crane yard.
Let's do it.
There's a crane, Patrick. What kind of crane is that?
That one right there, that's going to be an all-terrain crane by Tadano. And the reason we can tell that is on the side of the boom, there's a hose reel. Now that hose reel there is for the jib on it. That way it can hydraulically power it and be able to mechanically offset it.
Now we've got an all-terrain crane here behind us. This is a DMAG AC100, and what differentiates this from a taxi crane are these rear two axles here. They're actually able to turn, so it gives it the ability for a tighter turning radius, or it could even crab walk on the job site as well, which some of the newer trucks now have. This can drive down the highway, it can drive on job sites, because each axle is able to drive. When it gets into a rougher terrain, sloppier terrain, this one's gonna be able to accommodate it and drive through it.
What jobs will you see this do?
This is gonna be a Swiss Army knife out in the field because it can get to different spots a crawler won't be able to, and it's got a great chart as well. Because on the back here, you build the counterweights with it. So depending on the configuration, you can put more or less. So it's a versatile crane to be able to move and go anywhere you need it to. So this one is gonna have typically a longer boom and a better jib system on it than a rough terrain crane would. This one here actually has a hydraulic jib on it, so it can change its offset hydraulically. And that's kind of the purpose of the cord reel right there. That gives the hydraulic power to the jib on it.
How can you spot an all-terrain crane just by looking at it?
You're looking at the tires, and the setup of the crane itself is going to give you the indication of it. A truck crane, it's not going to have the removable counterweights as much as an all-terrain crane would.
So if it looks like a car, like you can drive it down the road, it's going to be either an all-terrain or a truck crane. If it's bigger, it's probably an all-terrain crane. Is that an easy way to say it?
Correct, yes, because truck cranes are going to limit out probably about 110, 130, where an all-terrain crane can go up to 800 tons nowadays.
And what are the rope needs of an all-terrain crane?
An all-terrain crane is going to be a rotation-resistant rope. But what's different than the ones we've looked at already, the crawler cranes and the rough terrain cranes, is this one here actually has a button on the end of the wire rope. And you can see it right here in the holder. The great thing about buttons is it gives 100% efficiency of the wire rope. Typically on the ones we've looked at before, it's got a becket on the end of it. So you're putting it through it, and that's actually decreasing the strength of rope by 20%. And that's calculated in the chart. So doing this, you get a more efficient wire rope out of it. Plus, it's gonna be easier to reeve this through the block system when you have to change the configuration. Because when you put it into a becket, it's got a kink into it at that point. It's a lot tougher to shove it down into the shivs. So this makes it a lot easier on the operator as well.
All right, so all-terrain crane can drive on the road. I'm guessing since we're in this asphalt lot now, the next crane that we're gonna look at can also drive down the road. So let's go take a look at that next crane.
Absolutely.
All right, Patrick, so what kind of crane is this?
This right here is a beautiful Manitex 40-ton boom truck. So a little different style than we've seen. These are gonna be lower capacity cranes. Your all-terrain cranes, your taxi cranes will have a higher capacity than the boom trucks will, but it's a very efficient and good crane to have in the fleet.
So a boom truck crane is not a truck crane?
Everything has different classifications, right? What everybody's gonna call it in the industry, they're gonna call this a boom truck. They're not gonna call it a truck crane.
And what differentiates this from a truck crane?
What differentiates this one is the open deck on the back. That way you can actually carry your customer's product. Could be a pump, a motor that needs to be carried to the job site and then installed on the site afterwards.
So truck crane, taxi crane, they look more like the all-terrain crane that we just saw, but they're just smaller, right? They don't have the
turning, pivoting drive axles in the rear.
And what jobs is a boom truck good for?
Boom trucks are good for lighter loads, shorter lifts. So smaller jobs is what it's gonna be. You know, a couple picks here and there, and then it goes back home. So it's a lower cost for the customer to rent.
So where would you expect to see a boom truck operate?
A boom truck, you're gonna see these in the cities on smaller jobs, doing a little AC work, doing signs. Signs are gonna be a big thing for it too, because it's a lighter load. So you're renting a more economic crane at that point to do the job.
And then what are the wire rope needs for a boom truck?
Wire rope needs on them are gonna be a rotation resistant rope, and then the tolerance is gonna be set by what's on the drum of the crane at that point.
And they don't have an auxiliary hoist or anything like that, right?
Some do, predominantly they don't though. It's gonna be primarily just the main hoist on it. There are a couple out there that do have an aux though.
All right, so hopping back in the car to go see a couple different cranes, going to another crane yard, right?
Yep, let's go have some more fun.
All right. So Patrick, what crane types do people get confused the most often?
The ones they get kind of confused the most about is going to be a taxi crane and an all-terrain crane, because they do look very similar. You know, they can have 4 axles or 5 axles, but knowing that the back 2 are pivoting and being able to turn is the differentiator between a taxi crane and an all-terrain crane.
Now we're in Tampa, and we've got another all-terrain crane.
So what's different about this all-terrain crane? Why did you want me to see this one?
Well, if we step back a little bit, it looks a little different than the other ones, right? This one is a Tadano AC 7.450. It's a 450-ton crane. It's so big, they actually have to take the boom out of it before they drive it down the road.
You said before that the all-terrain crane is the Swiss Army knife of the job site. Is a giant all-terrain crane like this one still considered the Swiss Army knife of the job site?
Because it can do so many things, yes, but it's gonna focus on heavy lifts or lifts with a long lifting radius, so they can use that luffer attachment we had talked about earlier.
And is it gonna have the similar wire rope needs as the other all-terrain cranes that we looked at?
Yes, it's still gonna require a rotation-resistant rope, because if you have a long drop, you don't want that load spinning. You want it to be safe for the riggers and the signal people.
And then I noticed with this one, a lot more wheels.
Yes, obviously as the cranes get bigger, they need more axles, and it's for load distribution to be able to drive down the roads. And if you noticed in the name, it's an AC 7.450. The 7 stands for how many axles there are. The 450 is the capacity in metric tons.
So if you see a crane with 7 axles, 14 wheels, you could probably just assume it's an all-terrain crane, right?
Absolutely. You won't see a truck crane with that many axles on it.
Today, we looked at a lot of different cranes. Do all of these cranes have different rope requirements?
There's gonna be different lengths that are required on what the lifting configuration and the boom lengths. But they're all gonna take a rotation-resistant rope. They might differ on the tolerances of the rope, and that's gonna be predicated on how the drum is designed on the crane.
And why can't you just use any rope on a crane, any wire rope?
Well, you want the rope to function properly. You need good spooling properties and longevity. And the proper rope, the right rope for the crane will give you all of those. Using the improper rope, you're gonna have spooling issues, which can create unsafe lifts. We're always gonna ask a couple questions too when you're ordering the rope, right? So we're gonna wanna know what is the make and model of the crane and what drum is it using on. Because every crane's a little specific on the length, diameter, and we even learned there's different buttons for the same manufacturer as well.
You know, Patrick, until today, I really never thought about all the different types of cranes that are out there. Cranes are cranes. you don't really think about it as you're driving down the road. Hey, look at that one, it looks different than the other one.
Further away, they all kind of look the same. There's a boom in the air and they're picking loads up. But then when you take the time to actually look at them, everyone has a little specific specialty that it's really good at, like the rough terrain cranes. They're great for being nimble on a job site and moving around. Crawler cranes have a high capacity, can pick and carry, slow moving. All-terrain cranes, you can drive them anywhere you need to, high capacity. Then you've got your boom trucks, lower capacity, a little lower cost for the renter at that point. Just like tools in your toolbox at home, there's the right crane for the right job as well.
And Menzer prides themselves in getting the right rope on the right crane also, right?
Absolutely. We have a passion for wire rope. We want to not only succeed ourselves, but we want the customer to be the best. And to be the best, you have to supply the right rope on time, every time.
Thanks, Patrick. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ben.
If you want to learn more about lifting and rigging, please go to MenzerCompanies.com and check out our Learning Center, where you can learn a ton about lifting, rigging, fall protection, anything that you need on the job site. If you work around equipment like this every day, Menzer has what you need, whether that's rigging or wire rope. We can get you what you need when you need it to make sure that your job runs as smoothly as possible. If you found this video useful, informative, entertaining, or you just feel like being friendly, hit that like button so we can get this information out to everyone who needs it. Remember, safe rigging is smart rigging. My name is Ben. Stay safe out there.